Which of the following statement is correct? A. The distance from a point on one thread to the corresponding point on the next thread is called pitch. B. The distance which a screw thread advances axially in one rotation of the nut is called lead. C. In single start threads, lead is equal to pitch. D. All of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. The taper on cotter and slot is made on both the sides. A. Agree. B. Disagree. C. D. The correct answer is disagree. Teflon is used for bearings because of A. Low coefficient of friction. B. Better heat dissipation. C. Smaller space consideration. D. All of these. The correct answer is low coefficient of friction. In designing a flange coupling, the pitch circle diameter of bolts is taken as where D diameter of the shaft. A. 2D. B. 3D. C. 4D. D. 5D. The correct answer is 3D. The acme threads are usually found on A. spindles of bench vices. B. Railway carriage couplings. C. Feed mechanism of machine tools. D. Screw cutting lathes. The correct answer is screw cutting lathes. The efficiency of a square threaded screw is maximum if the helix angle is equal to wear angle of friction. A. 90. B. 45. C. 45-2. D. 45-2. The correct answer is 45-2. In designing thick cylinders, the equation used is A. Lame's equation. B. Bernese equation. C. Clavarino's equation. D. All of these. The correct answer is all of these. Two shafts A and B are made of the same material. The diameter of shaft A is twice as that of shaft B. The power transmitted by the shaft A will be of shaft B. A. Twice. B. 4 times. C. 8 times. D. 16 times. The correct answer is 8 times. A parallel sunk key made of steel is equally strong in shearing and crushing. A. Yes. B. No. C. D. The correct answer is no. In designing a key, it is assumed that the distribution of forces along the length of key A. varies linearly. B. is uniform throughout. C. varies exponentially, being more at the torque input end. D. varies exponentially, being less at the torque input end. The correct answer is uniform throughout. In a belt drive, the velocity ratio is the inverse ratio of the diameters of driving and driven pulleys. A. True. B. False. C. D. The correct answer is true. In order to have a connecting rod equally strong in buckling about x-axis and y-axis, the moment of inertia about x-axis should be the moment of inertia about y-axis. A. equal to B. twice. C. 3 times. D. 4 times. The correct answer is 4 times. The bearing characteristic number in a hydrodynamic bearing depends upon A. length, width and load. B. length, width and speed. C. viscosity, speed and load. D. viscosity, speed and bearing pressure. The correct answer is viscosity, speed and bearing pressure. A spring is used to A. measure forces. B. apply forces. C. store energy. D. all of these. The correct answer is all of these. When the top of a tooth undercuts the root on the mating gear, it is known as interference. A. yes. B. no. C. D. The correct answer is yes. If the helix angle of a helical gear is increased, the load carrying capacity of the tooth increases. A. correct. B. incorrect. C. D. The correct answer is incorrect. The expansion joint is mostly used for pipes which carry steam at pressures A low, B high, C, D. The correct answer is high. A compound belt drive is used when A shafts are arranged parallel and rotate in the opposite directions. B shafts are arranged parallel and rotate in the same directions. C shafts are arranged at right angles and rotate in one definite direction. D none of the above. The correct answer is none of the above. A tapered key which fits in a keyway in the hub and is flat on the shaft is known as A feather key, B jib head key, C woodruff key, D flat saddle key. The correct answer is flat saddle key. The included angle for the V-belt is usually A 10-20, B 30-40, C 40-60, D 60-80. The correct answer is 30-40. In static loading, stress concentration is more serious in A brittle materials, B ductile materials, C brittle as well as ductile materials, D elastic materials. The correct answer is brittle materials. The bending stress in a curved beam is A0 at the centroidal axis, B0 at the point other than centroidal axis, C maximum at the neutral axis, D none of these. The correct answer is 0 at the point other than centroidal axis. The piston pin bearings in heavy-duty diesel engines are A needle roller bearings, B tapered roller bearings, C spherical roller bearings, D cylindrical roller bearings. The correct answer is needle roller bearings. Cast iron pipes are mainly used A for conveying steam, B in water and sewage systems, C in pressure lubrication systems on prime movers, D all of the above. The correct answer is in water and sewage systems. In a multiple V-belt drive, if one of the belts break, then A only the broken belt is replaced, B the entire set of belts is replaced, C the broken belt and the belt on either side of it is replaced, D the broken belt need not to be replaced. The correct answer is the entire set of belts is replaced. The parallel fillet welded joints are designed for compressive strength. A agree, B disagree, C, D. The correct answer is disagree. A column of length L is fixed at both ends. The equivalent length of the column is A L2, B L2, C L, D 2L. The correct answer is L2. A spring of stiffness 1000 Nm is streteched initially by 100 mm from the undeformed position. The work required to stretch it by another 100 mm is A 5 Nm, B 7 Nm, C 10 Nm, D 15 Nm. The correct answer is 15 Nm. A feather key transmits a turning moment and permits axial movement also. A true, B false, C, D. The correct answer is true. The width of the pulley should be width of the belt. A equal to, B less than, C greater than, D. The correct answer is greater than. The design of the pressure vessel is based on A longitudinal stress, B hoop stress, C longitudinal and hoop stress, D none of these. The correct answer is hoop stress. In order to have smooth operation, the minimum number of teeth on the smaller sprocket for moderate speeds should be A 15, B 17, C 21, D 25. The correct answer is 17. For high-speed engines, the cam follower should move with A uniform velocity, B. Simple harmonic motion. C. Uniform acceleration and retardation. D. Cycloidal motion. The correct answer is cycloidal motion. Rankines theory is used for A. Brittle materials. B. Ductile materials. C. Elastic materials. D. Plastic materials. The correct answer is brittle materials. The objective of caulking in a riveted joint is to make the joint A. Free from corrosion. B. Stronger in tension. C. Free from stress. D. Leak-proof. The correct answer is leak-proof. A material is stressed within elastic limit and its linear strain is double as compared to lateral strain. The ratio of its bulk modulus to Young's modulus will be equal to 1. A. Correct. B. Incorrect. C. D. The correct answer is incorrect. A jam nut is a locking device in which A thinner nut is tightened down over a thicker or main nut and the main nut is tightened against the thinner nut by loosening. B. A slot is cut in line with the center of each face and a split pin passes through two slots in the nut and a hole in the bolt so that a positive lock is obtained unless the pin shears. C. A slot is cut about halfway through the nut and a small screw is tightened between the nut and the bolt in order to produce more friction. D. The bottom cylindrical portion is recessed to receive the tip of the locking set screw. The correct answer is a thinner nut is tightened down over a thicker or main nut and the main nut is tightened against the thinner nut by loosening. The difference between the upper limit and lower limit of a dimension is called A. Nominal size. B. Basic size. C. Actual size. D. Tolerance. The correct answer is tolerance. The algebraic difference between the actual size and the corresponding basic size is called actual deviation. A. Agree. B. Disagree. C. D. The correct answer is agree. The average shear stress in the hollow shaft is smaller than the average shear stress in the solid shaft. A. True. B. False. C. D. The correct answer is true. The diameter of knuckle pin in a knuckle joint is usually taken as where D. Diameter of the rod. A. 0.5 D. B. 0.8 D. C. D. D. 1.2 D. The correct answer is D. The design of shafts made of brittle materials is based on A. Guest's theory. B. Rankines theory. C. Saint-Venant's theory. D. Von Mises theory. The correct answer is Rankines theory. A locking device extensively used in automobile industry is A. Jam nut. B. Castle nut. C. Saw nut. D. Ring nut. The correct answer is Castle nut. A keyway lowers A. The strength of the shaft. B. The rigidity of the shaft. C. Both the strength and rigidity of the shaft. D. The ductility of the shaft. The correct answer is both the strength and rigidity of the shaft.